What's good, everybody? And today we have an interesting video here by Vars2. Wuthering Waves needs more 4-star characters. 7 things WuWa desperately needs. This is going to be an interesting video. I feel like it's going to spark like some kind of conversation. I know the 4-star thing has been around a lot, and we could definitely get into some of our thoughts and feelings. I know I've had a lot of them on stream before, but I've never like vocalized them into a video. So I feel this would be a good opportunity to extend this discussion and you know, add on to this conversation. So let's get right into it.
Wuthering Waves that I really appreciate, it's Kuro's willingness to continue improving the game's quality of life and gameplay experience, not just based on player feedback, but also anything they can think of. Feels like every new patch there's a laundry list of things they fixed up or added to the game. Not sure how much of that was requested by the players, or they're adding a bunch of things we didn't ask for but appreciate, but either way, it's definitely refreshing that Kuro is diligent about this stuff. Normally, players have to start a riot or create loud enough backlash before companies acquiesce to doing the bare minimum, and I can kind of get why. Great UX design's a very thankless job. People seldom notice when quality of life gets implemented, but they are quick to notice when it doesn't, which is why I'm glad Kuro's getting the appreciation they've been getting for the effort. The game isn't perfect and has a few noteworthy flaws, but like I said in my year 1 retrospective, I gotta give credit where it's due. It's for this reason I think WuWa's the best game to make this sort of video for, because they're the game that's realistically most likely to actually be receptive to it and implement.
Based. It's kind of true, right? And we all know it. Throughout the history of Wuthering Waves, I've never seen a gacha community or a community in a while. Maybe because I'm blind to it, so if I am, maybe you guys in the comments can let me know. But it's very rare to see a community that gets excited to see like surveys. Do you know what I mean? Every time there's like a big survey, everyone's like, oh my god, did you do the survey? Did you do the survey? Did you respond to the survey? And people actually like watch videos of creators talking about the survey and things like that. You know what I mean? So WuWa definitely is a game that listens, and the result of that is the community gets excited to actually like participate in feedback, which I think is like one of the few like good things we have out of like gacha right now, is devs that will a lot of the times actually listen to what people are saying, which is a W Kuro moment. And I really hope they keep doing that, and I hope the community keeps up that attitude as well. I really hope they do, and the community keeps up supporting the surveys and supporting all the content around the surveys and criticism and things like that, which is going to be a W. So yeah.
The changes requested. So today we'll be going through 7 things, or I should say 7 more things WuWa could benefit from doing. Let's get into it.
We're getting there, bro.
1. More 4 stars. First order of business, and probably the most highly requested one, is 4-star characters. WuWa could use more 4 stars. The last one.
There's been so much conversation about 4 stars, and if you kind of want my take on the whole 4-star situation, I would love an easy solution right now in the short term is to be able to use all the rovers independently, like or be able to swap them out like we were able to for the 2.2 quest. Being able to use different versions of him, I think, would be like a good thing. I think that would be useful for people to have. I thought that might have been a hint that they would do that in future, but it turns out that maybe that wasn't the case. But I think that would be like actually genuinely pretty cool to have. And I feel like I may be in the minority, because I kind of had an argument with my chat a couple of times about this whole like topic. But I'm also under the impression of, I feel like a lot of 4 stars end up getting benched and put on the sidelines when alternative 5-star versions comes around anyway. And Kuro does a really good job of always giving you the characters that you kind of like would want. Like, how many times have a character come across we've been like, we want to skip, but they end up being a character we really need, so we pull them anyway. They've kind of become really good at that. And I really hope that if they do make a 4-cost or a 4-star, whatever you want to refer to it as, that they are genuinely really useful and could like almost like meta defining, or like be able to be used in meta teams, and not something you'll just end up putting on the sidelines in like 2 weeks, because I feel that's like a waste of dev time in a way. I kind of feel a waste of dev time, an opportunity to make a cool character with a cool backstory, you know. Yeah, like Lumi's design, yeah, such a waste of a character design. I feel it's a very subjective thing, right? A lot of people like to use Lumi, and people say, oh, she could have been a 5-star, or they could have made her more interesting as a 5-star. And it's just a shame to have like cool characters put on the benches for something else eventually. I think a good example of a 4-star, for example, let me bring up like Honkai Star Rail, like Gallagher. Gallagher has been around for a long time and is still used in like teams almost in a meta way, kind of like even to this day sometimes. Like that's an example of a 4-star that sticks around. Like in ZZZ, you have Nicole, who's been there since 1.0, still a really good character to use even now. Those are good 4-stars. Those are characters that you actually want in the games, not characters you're never going to use again. Not characters that you immediately are just going to bench and never see the light of day. So it really depends of like I would be okay if they released like 1 or 2 a year, but they were really, really good. And they kind of define, and they will stick around for a long time and are very useful for a lot of people universally. That is the kind of 4-star that I want. But just pumping them out for the sake of wanting more characters, which I think a bunch of people want. I'm going to be honest. I think that there's a lot of people who want 4-stars because they just want new characters to have. That's, you know, that's valid. I can understand more characters to add to the pool, to the lore, to the story of everything. I just wish they were of good quality. That's what it is. I wish they were all good quality. We have Sanhua. Exactly. Sanhua is an example of a really, really, really good 4-star. Maybe too good, some might argue, right? But that's an example of one.
So we got was Lumi back in 1.4 more than half a year ago, so I feel like it's about time they started making some more. They did tease a bunch of units to us during their first anniversary stream, and while I'm sure they're all going to be 5-stars, I wouldn't mind if 1 and 2 of them were of the lesser rarity. I will say this though, even though Wuthering Waves hasn't been releasing new 4-star characters, there hasn't been as much pressure for them to do so given the way they go about their units. For example, the fact that the 3 playable elements of Rover we have so far all perform quite well for a free unit gives every player, free-to-play or whales, a strong baseline when it comes to taking on the endgame. More importantly, Spectral and Dare Rover serve as a cornerstone for their respective engines. Even though Phoebe and Chakona doing a lot better, Zani and
either being able to switch between these rovers or having multiple versions of in teams or giving a 4-star alternative to use instead of, I think is going to be useful. But sometimes the fact that they haven't done that when they so easily could kind of says to me that maybe Kuro doesn't want to do that and they do want you pulling on the new characters. It's just one of those gacha tactics, which I'm not 100% sure of like how I feel about this yet. I think we'll see down the road how much it kind of impacts gameplay and team building once we get more and more characters that are specifically designed for like mono attribute teams. We'll see how much that plays into it in the future. But I feel like that could have been something, if they wanted to do it, they could have implemented that by now, but they haven't.
To get the job done even with only Rover, which alleviates the burden of pulling for all the hyper-specific units. On that front, WuWa's teams consist of only 3 party members as opposed to the usual 4 or 5 that most other games have, meaning there's 1 less character you need to work on per team to get them off the ground. In addition, with most players having Verena on their team and Verena being able to work for literally any party on a competent level at worst, the need for new 4-stars isn't too imperative. That, and I'm pretty sure WuWa gives enough free airstrikes per up.
This is also a really, really good point. The fact that you only need 3 characters as a team and one of them tends to be Verena, Shorekeeper, or another kind of like support like that, like we have Lupin now, for example, with the mono teams. It really drives it home. But I feel as we're now again going down this route of having mono attribute teams where people are using Verena less and Shorekeeper less, and now we have the door open for, you know, we have like Lupa, Brandt, Changli, or we have Frolova, Cantarella, Rosia, where like Verena and Shorekeeper are less important to have in teams going forward. The need for a 4-star alternative might now arise even more because of it, right? Because those other characters from 1.0 are becoming a little bit less relevant now in like the newer teams that are coming forward. Because we know Frolova has like kind of like very specific teams at this point. Same thing with Lupa.
Update to allow players the ability to pull for new 5-stars at a decent rate. And for those who have been playing since day 1, they'll have gotten the 5-star select, as well as the free 5-star we got as an apology for the rocky initial launch, and of course Shanli Yao in version 1.2. Encore Shanli Yao and Verena are still extremely present in the metagame. All the same, most of version 1 saw general team building with most characters being usable interchangeably with each other.
Yeah, and this also brings the point, right? If you could still clear content with like 1.0 characters, I guess the new WuWa kind of puts that into question to some degree, right? But if you could still clear all the content with all the older characters, like is it really imperative to have the 4-stars when you have all the tools available to clear the content? Like you can get the standard 5-stars and level them and still do content. Is it actually as necessary to have the 4-stars like that to do content? And instead, is it more of like a personal thing of actually we would just rather have those like 4 stars? It's a lot of factors that go into this. There's a lot of different factors.
For example, Sanhua and Verina being in almost every single party. But now that we're entering more specialized combat engines like Mono Fusion, Mono Arrow, Mono Spectral, it would be nice if they gave players a couple 4-star options to keep up with that. The current lineup of Sanhua, Mordefi, Dungeon, Baichi, Chisha, the Rovers, and Yang Yang do a good enough job holding down the fort. However, more is always helpful. As for what kind of 4-star we would need the most, I'm honestly not sure. For Havoc teams, Dungeon and Havoc Rover can work as a pair, and the former can play well with other Havoc units like Camellia and Frolova, so that's covered. Spectra teams have Spectra Rover and Verina. Again, Zani would like Phoebe, but it's still usable. Air Ocean has Air Rover. Glacier teams have Baija. Fusion teams have Encore and Chisha. They're not best of slot.
The problem being, like, with the Spectra and Aero teams, what if you wanted to use, like, a Spectra and Aero team, like on WuWa or something? You can't have Rover twice. And that's really a problem that people have.
But they do get the job done.
Yeah, Electro teams have nothing. Electro teams have nothing, and that's why there's been no Electro characters. Oh, 7. Oh, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
A good 4-star option would be a 4-star Whimpering Waste character. Technically, we have Yang Yang for that.
I think the main reason why this topic came up is negative statuses. No, 100%. Because you need 4-star. I think we will need 4-stars that eventually have negative statuses built into their kit. Or like, it's a general thing. Well, this 4-star will amplify the whatever of another character that applies a negative status. Or something like that. That's going to need to happen at some point. Probably. Probably like Rover does it. Right? Rover does it in a roundabout way.
But I think a 4-star DPS option with AoE grouping capability can be a huge help for people in Whimpering, seeing as that game mode isn't as skill divable as the other ones. You just need someone who can blast through as many enemies as possible, as quickly as possible. I'm not sure what free-to-play players are doing for Whimpering since I just take Camellia, GN, and Zani and AFK clear stuff, but I can imagine Whimpering Waste being difficult for people who don't have at least one super AoE clearing team or Rocha. Outside of that, probably another general hypercarry buffing unit. Right now the only 2 we have are Sanhua and Mordefi. Sanhua being good for how fast you can outro skill on her, and Mordefi's
Sanhua, the queen of WuWa. The queen. But the thing is, I've been using Sanhua way less ever since like 2.2. She gets put on the bench now, man. I swear. Like, Sanhua actually gets put on the bench for me. It's kind of sad.
In addition to both of them being good conduits for Moonlit Clouds and their S6 20% attack buff, but maybe someone who could give like a general buff to attackers. I had half a mind to make someone like Chikona, where their Liberation lets them choose what attack type they augment, whether basic attack, heavy attack, skill damage, what have you. That would be pretty cool. Overall though, given the circumstances, it's not an imperative need for one, but I think releasing a 4-star every couple versions or so would do good in keeping the roster more balanced. Number 2, Targeted Echo Merge. I know this one technically already has a solution compared to other games that flat out don't let you farm more equipment. WuWa gives you the ability to endlessly farm the main stats on echoes you want by going throughout the worlds and killing stuff, then once you run out you can go to a friend's world and repeat the process, which is great. But if I may be so entitled as task...
Yeah, no one's min-maxing echoes that much that they hop into friends' worlds. I'll be real. Ain't no one doing that. No one got the time for that. If you do, go outside, touch grass, okay? I'm calling y'all out. I'm calling all y'all people who don't go outside and talk to your friends. Go touch grass, okay? Take care of the Tofu did. Go touch grass. Go touch grass, guys. My VIPs do that? Oh my god, we're so cooked. We're so cooked. Oh my god.
For more, I think the merging feature could use a touch-up. As you know, the data merge is a system wherein you can take 5 unleveled echoes and turn them into one new one at random. On some occasions, you can even get a buy one get one free deal with a bonus echo. Couple that with being able to theoretically farm echoes until you hate yourself, and main stats are practically a non-issue in WuWa. However, there's one grievance I have towards data merging, the fact that you cannot choose what echo you get. Basically, the game will hand you one of any echo type you have in the Pokédex.
So annoying. It's so... Who cares? At this point, I don't think people care about merging.
aka databank. But considering there's like 100 different echoes in the available pool, the odds of you getting the one you want are slim to none. You need to get the right cost.
Yeah, having some kind of like resource that lets you pick what set they come from, or the chance of that set being increased would be incredibly useful.
1, 3, or 4. Then you need to make sure that echo's in the right set, since one echo could be part of 2 or even 3 different echo sets. At that point, you can basically forget about aiming for a certain main stat echo. All the batch merge is meant to do is clear your inventory.
Yeah, I only do batch merging once I've run out of space. I kind of forget to do this otherwise. I'll be honest. I probably should go and do this now that I think about it.
because out of the 100 echoes you throw in there,
I feel like most people who play WuWa are really, really bad at echo management. Like, I think a lot of them are genuinely really bad at echo management, and I think I'm one of them. I never do this because I don't really run out of space very often.
only like one of them is an actual good target stat.
They did add this to 2.5 though. Is it actually different now? Am I crazy? Am I that bad in echo management that I didn't see a new QOL? Has it actually been trained? After QOL, I haven't had the problem. Has it actually been fixed? Oh, is this a Hail Cura moment? Yeah, I haven't actually used it yet. Yeah, what exactly did they add? What exactly did they add? QOL for echo is really good. What did they add? Because again, I'm the #1 like tourist when it comes to echo management. I basically never do it. Auto lock and auto discard target hunting. Auto discard and lock function. Auto lock main stat that you want. What's that got to do with like merging though? So is it like if you were to merge, it will automatically discard things you don't want and keep things you do want? Is that what it is? So if you do the batch merging, it will automatically discard the things you don't want and keep what you do want. Yep. Okay. I guess that's one way of looking at it, but I think what he's trying to say is that you want more chances of having the things you want in the first place. Right? I think that's what it is. I think it's like being able to be way more selective and having like increasing the rate you'll get something in the first place. I think is also going to be cool. There's still issues with it? Okay. It's a step in the right direction then.
That. Which brings me to the #2 suggestion. I would be more than willing to throw in 10 echoes or heck even 20 echoes if I was allowed to at least choose the Sonata set. We already have the onboard echo box that you get from the 1000 Gateways event, letting you choose from a selection of Sonata pairs to pull from. That could be a far better way of implementing the data merge than simply giving us a random echo. Yes, I'm aware given the fact that you can farm theoretically endless amounts of echoes in the overworld, the whole RNG thing from merging is somewhat of a non-issue, but the point of quality of life is convenience at the end of the day. Small of a change this might be, I feel like it's not beyond the realm of possibility for Kuro to implement it. #3.
Okay, it would be okay. I see. Yeah, I think mentioning that auto discard thing and bringing it up into the conversation would have been useful. Unfortunately, that was the newest set. Can't get from the box. Yeah, that's really the downsides. But the only thing is that you can do that field that you could do once a day. I think people have mixed opinions on that. Depends if you're like a mega farmer or if you're a casual. If you're a mega casual, I think you'll like the new way of the field. If you're like a farmer, you won't particularly like it. Find it frustrating.
Training room. Not sure if this is something that would universally...
Yes, please! Oh my god! How many times have we said this? Oh my god! Holy shit! I just almost pissed myself with excitement. Please give us a training dummy. Please give us a training dummy. Oh my god, please, so we can actually like test things properly. Oh my god. And actually it keeps track of like score or like damage or something like that. I would actually, bro, I would wet myself with excitement if they implemented something like that. That would be so good. Bro, the content that would come from that too would be crazy. The content in 2 would be crazy. Please give us training dummies. I swear, I would shout about this from the rooftops. This would solve so many fucking arguments like on Twitter. A DPS meter, training dummy, fucking anything. Oh my god, like this would, oh my god, this would make life so much easier for everybody. My heart rate increased just by thinking about it. My heart rate increased just thinking about a training dummy in WuWa. Oh my god. Oh.
Benefit everyone compared to the first two, but I feel like a training room would be fantastic for theory crafting teams and such. A place with a training dummy that sits there and lets you beat over it to measure how much DPS your team is doing would be awesome for people who want to practice a game. And if I'm not mistaken, Punishing Grey Raven has one, so Kuro's already familiar with such a feature. To my knowledge, there's already an NPC in the game that lets you practice dodging encounters in Jinzhou at the start of the game, and I believe you can still train with them even now. But having something with infinite HP that lets you practice team rotations...
Vaz is a League player. How dare he?
And quick swapping would greatly help out players who want a low stakes environment to practice. Granted, real enemies don't just stand still and let you do your thing, but WuWa definitely has a steeper learning curve as far as combat goes. Some characters have fairly elaborate rotations that take a good bit of practice to be fast with. I'm aware every unit has a tutorial mode where you can try their combos and stuff out, but those don't allow you to bring teammates of your choosing, nor do they let you test different rotations or combinations to see which one has the highest damage. Most of the time, theory crafting is seen as more of a niche thing that spreadsheet slaves and sweaty players care about, but for WuWa, I actually think it's essential to have this kind of thing considering all the variables influencing a team's performance. Some people might look at a hypothetical rotation in DPS and think that's what they need to do, but they could be hamstringing themselves by not—
Especially when WuWa, you have like the quick swappers and the people who do normal if we had a trading dummy, do you remember the Meigi drama? Imagine if we had a trading dummy when the whole Meigi drama happened with the 15% power creep Zanny situation. Imagine if we'd had that. How quickly we could solve the drama. Like, just like in a matter of minutes, we could solve the drama in like a second if we had a fucking training dummy. Oh my god. Like, god fucking damn it, bro. Like, god damn it. It would just solve it immediately.
Not having the right practice. In addition to that, I think a boss simulator would be handy. It can get rather tiresome to learn the mechanics of a boss when trying to beat it, since at lower difficulties they just die immediately, and at higher difficulties they one-shot you. Perhaps a mode where both you and the boss are invincible and you're just practicing dodging and parrying certain things would be a good way for players to get the hang of.
Like holograms when no one dies and you could just practice the movesets. Because so many times, like, you get to the boss and it's actually hard to practice the movesets because, like, you die. And it's like, well, you never get to the move in the first place to practice it. Like, you never get there. Oh, my God. I don't... Oh. Gah. Oh, gah. Gah. Oh.
Bosses without having to go through the tedium of resetting over and over again.
Eyes. I can't see.
I
I'm
suppose
blind.
Ever since they made it so energy is brought to full at the start of each hologram, you can just keep throwing yourself at the boss until you eventually get the hang of it. But either way, a training room would be certainly worthwhile. Again, quality of life additions are less about what is immediately necessary and more about what's nice to have. Number 4. Wave plate condensing. Kind of a small one, but something that I think would be nice in the off chance you're short on time but don't want to feel guilty about losing it. As you know, WuWa lets you store up to 240 wave plates, filling up over the course of 24 hours. Any additional points generated on top of that get stored into a bank of sorts that accumulates energy beyond 240 at a slower rate. Further, certain farming spots like the materials or taster field areas afford you the option to double claim as a way to shorten the amount of grinding you have to do every day. The implementation of those features is obviously very much appreciated since you can blow through your energy in a matter of like 5 minutes, so I might just be asking for a mile after getting an inch. That said, a way to condense wave plates into a separate type of item would be helpful for certain things, like if you're trying to stockpile energy to power farm a new character coming out who needs entirely new boss materials, or something along the lines of that. Echoes you can technically pre-farm via the 1000 gateway.
Bro's asking for like the yellow piss cubes. We call them piss cubes, right? Bro wants a way to turn the green cubes into yellow piss cubes. That's what bro wants. Bro wants a way to be able to store it like permanently. Being able to turn the excess energy into yellow piss cubes. It's like what Genshin does. Yeah, but you can only have a certain amount of them. I'm pretty sure. You can only have like 4 of those at a time. Or 5 or something like that. We should be able to turn stamina into solvents. Yeah, like I kind of agree. This would be really useful. This would be really useful. But like, again, gacha games inherently won't like something like that. Because it means people might just like farm the cubes. Right, leave for a long time, make the stamina cubes, only to come back to power farm in one day, build all their characters in one day, and then they never play the game again for weeks. And they're looking for the player retention. So while I agree it'll be very player friendly, they won't let you do that like unlimitedly. And I think if they would, they'll put a cap on it like Genshin. Because the whole point, the reason why they don't have it unlimited capped is because they don't want you power farming all in one day. So I think maybe have them, but they'd probably put a cap on it. But I would still like to see this implemented in some way, like for sure.
Boxes, but overall, some form of supplementary energy storage would be nice. Number 5, auto-tune. No, not the kind of auto-tune you find in music videos. This is a personal gripe of mine. As someone who tries to min-max echo leveling, what I really dislike about leveling echoes is how I have to first level up the echo, then tune it, then...
This is no longer a problem. You can now do this in 2.5. I don't, maybe Vars hasn't played 2.5 properly yet or whatever it is, but you can now do this. There is an option for you to auto tune at the same time.
Then level it up again, then tune it again, and keep doing that over and over and over every time I want to level up echoes for a character. I still don't really get the point of tuners, because if you're gonna put in the experience to level up an Echo to 5, 10, 15 and so on, you're obviously going to want to tune them, at which point why even have the tuning system
Sorry,
to begin with,
bro, I'll be so real, I have the sun in my eyes. I'm like kind of like listening to this more than watching because I actually can't see my computer screen. The sun is in my eyes so bad. Holy crap. Okay, let's carry on.
Unlocked at each new threshold. But assuming they want to keep the system in the game, please give us a feature that lets us automatically use up a tuner to unlock the stat, because the whole process gets tedious when you're doing it for thousands of echoes at a time. Not to mention, it hurts my hand having to left click a bunch of times. I would like it if they can add this to the game, as I'd imagine many players also farm up a bunch of echoes, then level them up all at once at a later point. Or maybe I'm just in the minority, who knows. Number 6, Endless Mode. The last two things are going to be content related, but one thing I would love to have for this sort of game, on account of it being very hack and slashy, is an endless game mode. Sort of like a combination of Tower and Wuthering, where you face endless waves of enemies that get increasingly more and more challenging via some kind of procedural generation algorithm, and the goal is to get as far as humanly possible. To prevent the game from getting sweatier than it already is, they could simply add it for bragging rights or for leaderboard achievements, but no rewards. Longtime viewers of my Wuthering Waves content may know I often showcase background footage from Mormont, and it's incredibly satisfying to see someone really good at the game. Sweetly made a name for herself by literally skill dipping the game under the most extreme conditions, and the very nature of WuWa's combat engine makes it so you can pull off some crazy feats in this game. I'm not kidding, you should see dungeon mains. They unironically get off on keeping dungeon at
mains who does it with like a guitar or blindfolded upside down, head in the water. It's like these people are actually crazy. These people are actually fucking nuts. There's something wrong with them intrinsically.
Then dodging and parrying everything like it's a die in the game, die in real life type scenario. In any case, Endless Mode offers players a chance to see how long they can hold out before enemies eventually get too numerous and too powerful for them to last any longer. I got this idea from stuff like Paper Mario the 1000-Year Door's Infinite Pit of 100 Trials ROM hack and Pokerogue. People go crazy for those games, and I can imagine a whole new niche of content for something like this. Imagine watching a streamer just perma-dodging and parrying everything and reaching level 100 or something, where mobs are so strong they literally one-shot you if they so much as touch you. I mean, I'd watch it. Number 7, make Depths of Elusive Realm permanent. Depths of Elusive Realm was actually a ton of...
I agree with this because it was a ton of fun. The roguelike was really fine. My only problem is I think people after a while will still find it boring and end up not doing it anyway. Deadass. It's fun. They should bring it back because everyone loved it. But some part of me feels as though that like maybe I'm blinded by nostalgia a little bit. And this will be fun for a while, and then again after a couple of months of it being permanent, people will just kind of give up on it. But I think if they like change the different power-ups that you have, make it interesting, make it like a proper little roguelite that you might have fun with doing like a every month or something, would just be like really fun to do. I don't know why they just don't have it permanent anyway. It's just silly. But yeah, give us permanent Elusive Realms. Yeah, W.
Fun when it was around, and I can't figure out for the life of me why they stopped doing it. It used to be a big thing back in version 1 where we had it for version 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, and 1.4, but ever since they brought in the Fantasy 1000 Gateways thing, which I suppose is meant to be a spiritual successor, they never brought back Elusive Realm. Surely they can have both of them.
The problem is people missed out on some lore. This mode keeps evolving as a separate questline over the patches. Yeah, it does. The somewhat has its own story, dude. Like it has its own story.
Having a long-term progress thing in Wuthering Waves would be nice. I'm all for rotating game modes like Tower and Wuthering and whatnot, but as someone who grew up playing MMOs, I'm a sucker for continuous progress. Something that makes me feel like my account now is much further in progression than 6 months ago in more than just how many characters I have. I think that's something all gachas stand to benefit from in general. It would be nice to have something in the game that makes people feel as if they're making steady progress towards an ultimate goal, instead of everything feeling like a routine that refreshes every so often. I'm not certain if they have plans to reinstitute Elusive Realm, but if they could make it a permanent thing and rework it a bit, that could be an opportunity to add some more long-term progression for players. Also, I miss the elusive store they had. Anyway, those are the 7 things I believe would be great for Wuthering Waves. Of course, there are way more than 7, but we'd be here forever then. Let me know in the comments below what quality of life updates or features you think they should add to the game. I'd like to hear what you have to say on this. As always, if you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter @Parsver and join my Discord server,
I think this
and check
video
out my
is
other
going to offer
Wuthering
like
Waves
a lot of
discussion
interesting
videos if you
discussions.
haven't
A lot of the
yet.
things have
Until
kind
next
of already
time, thanks so much for
been
watching.
solved in some way, or like on the way to being solved. Like the Echo stuff I think is getting there. The 4-star situation I think is definitely going to be more of a conversation as more like mono attribute teams come out. And yeah, I feel this is an interesting discussion to have. Nice. I enjoyed this. I like it. I like things that promote interesting conversations and add to the whole like situation as a whole. I think that's kind of a W. I think that's kind of a W. So yeah, love that. I appreciate y'all. Let me intro this out.
And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
Yippee! Yippee! This was a really good video. I love videos like this that encourage like trying to make solutions of problems. I think is a really good thing. And people not just like making a criticism like outright, but criticism with like also like maybe a solution. Stuff like this is like I love these kinds of videos. I love these kinds of videos. I appreciate y'all. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm live every single day on Twitch and on Kick. Subscribe to get 3 inches on your PP. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Twitch.tv/Captain Cabinetz, Captain Cabinetz.